Yeah, I'm about to just want to give my official prediction on the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fight. But before I give my prediction, I feel like they could have done a better job of promoting the fight. Um, I feel like the effort to promote the fight. I feel like every media outlet, especially sports media outlet, shouldn't have been talking about it. Granted, I think you had First Take talking about it, or was it Stephen A. Smith? But I feel like it should have been a lot more. Um, the promotion of the fight should have been a lot more grand. If you get what I'm saying, there should have been like more, more light on the fight. You get what I'm saying? Like I felt like, granted we're on a different age and stuff, so the way they promote fights now versus like what, 10, 15, 20 years ago is different, since we're like in a media age. It's kind of different. But I feel like the way they promoted like Tank Davis and versus Ryan Garcia um, was a lot better. Granted, another thing is that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, like their personality is not really like, they don't really have the personalities of people or fighters that want to push to promote the fight. They just want to get down to the nitty gritty and fight. So it also depends on the fighters too. So that's also another aspect to it. But I just feel like it should have been a lot bigger. Like, granted, like I said, it's gonna make money. The fight is gonna make money regardless. Um, it's gonna do more than 500K pay-per-view sales. Maybe hit a million. You never know. I don't know if it's gonna hit a million pay-per-view buys, but it'll probably be slightly under that. Um, but this fight is like, it's like a really big fight. I think, especially for casuals, like if you're not a big boxing fan, like if you're not a huge boxing fan, certain fights won't matter, or it won't be appealing. But this is like one of those fights that that kind of crosses that border. Like this is like Mayweather Pacquiao back in 2015 kind of fight. And so that's how big it is. It's like one of those fights that you don't really like. You might not watch other boxing fights, but this is the one like I would recommend anybody to watch. But yeah, it's one of them fights. In terms of who I'm picking, um, I've been following both Crawford and Spence since like what, 2015, around that time. So it's like 8 years ago, and so both of the fighters have always been one of my favorite fighters. So it's kind of like it's like a real big fight. And it's funny though, because even since back then, I seen like, I said to myself like, it would be interesting if those two fighters cross paths. Even though Crawford was at a lower weight class, he started at what, 135, 140, and Spence has always been at 147. But I've always saw that those two could collide at some point, and eight years later, now it's finally coming to fruition. In terms of who I'm picking, if you asked me like a month or two ago, I would have been like still like, splitting hairs and stuff like that. But I got Spence winning. I got Spence winning. Yeah, Crawford's a very good fighter, very skillful. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like Spence. I feel like Spence will be a little too much for him. I feel like Spence durability is on another level than Spence. I think Spence has more durability than Crawford. I think Spence. The question is how Crawford, how much of Crawford counter punching will affect or kind of negate Spence's jab or his offense. Because I know Spence is going to come off right off the gate with his jab, pushing the fight. Spence is the kind of fighter, he wants to be first, and he's always going to be first. He's never second. Spence does not rely on counterpunching too much. Although he can do it, but he doesn't rely on that because he's always first, like I said. And so it'll be interesting to see how much of Crawford's, counterpunching can negate Spence's offense. Spence, he's gonna keep coming. And Spence, not only has durability, but he has stamina. Like, he doesn't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, from round 1 to round 12, he has that same gas tank. Like, a lot of fighters don't have that kind of gas tank or conditioning. But it'll be interesting how. That's my biggest question for the fight. It's more so on Crawford's side. How much is Crawford counterpunching can negate Spence's offense and jab, especially his jab. I see the fight going like this. The first, I do see it like a big chess match. It'll be very, very close, especially the first 3 rounds. I think after the 3rd round, you're gonna start to see Spence try to make his way into the inside and try to get to his body. I don't think the first 3 rounds, like, Spence is gonna really get to his to Crawford's body. I feel like that we still be kind of feeling each other out, still kind of not playing it safe, but kind of having a healthy respect for the opponent. But I feel like by the 4th round, you're gonna start seeing Spence try to get to the body, and I think it should be very interesting how that happens. I think it'll be very interesting on how Crawford will adjust to Spence trying to get to the body. Will he, will he play those same games and try to fight on the inside with Spence? I feel like Spence has a better inside game. Than Crawford. He's a better overall, body. He goes to the body basically better than Crawford. But Crawford does, Crawford is a very complete fighter. You could say he has a better foot movement or footwork, but I think it also must be understood that no one's ever forced Spence to fight on his feet, or move backwards or any of that kind of stuff. He's always been the guy to come first. We actually have seen him go fight on his foot, on his feet and on the back foot, but it's been very minimal. I think Sean Porter did it. What's the other guy that did it? Lamont Peterson has done it too, but it was very in spurts. It was very small sample size, so it'll be interesting to see if Crawford can force Spence on his back foot. In my opinion, I don't see that really happening too much. I think it will be a lot of I think it will kind of, I don't want to say it's going to look like the Sean Porter fight when Errol Spence fought Sean Porter, but it'll be a lot of jockeying in terms of positioning, in my opinion. But I think I think Crawford will be on his back foot more so than Spence. I do see Spence winning it. If it goes all 12 rounds, I can't see Crawford winning it. I just can't. If it goes, I feel like the only way Crawford has a way of winning it is stopping and catching, and surprising Errol Spence with like a counter and hurting him. And I'm not saying that's not a possibility. Crawford has power. He stopped his last 10 opponents in the welterweight division, so he's really a very live dog in this game. But I could see Spence winning this by 2 ways: going all 12 or stopping him too. If Spence stops Crawford, it'll probably be late, between 9 and 12 rounds. If Crawford stops Spence, I think it will be more so in the early to mid rounds, in my opinion. Probably around 7, 8 rounds. If Spence stops him, it'll be late rounds. But I see this fight going all 12, and it's gonna be a unanimous decision by Errol Spence. That's my prediction. It's probably one of the biggest fight of the year. This is like the Super Bowl. This is like the World Cup of boxing. This is what it is, man. This is boxing. But that's my prediction. I'm excited for the fight tomorrow. That's it, man.